Holly. Psychic Scream. Evasion. Sprint. Evasion down. NS. Roots.
Talking about your life out there. The life.
Earthbind.
Oh, come on. The brain is vaporized like 10 minutes ago, and your heart is dancing on your tongue. You're holding that gun. Time is running out. Talking about your life out there. The life.
Sprint.
Your heart is dancing on your tongue. You're holding that gun. Time is running out. I'm talking about your life out there. Life. Talking about your life out there. Your life.
I'm always dying in my dreams. My broken heart seems to be haunting me. There is no turning back now. The darkness calls my name.
Polly. Polly. Psychic scream. Silence.
There you are, standing with 2 feet on the ground, leaving you without temptation, lacking an ecstatic state of mind. Elevate yourself. Get past the mundane.
Polly.
Get past the physical. And see the world
Psychic Scream.
for
Polly.
what it is.
Will of the Forsaken. Counterspell.
And see the world for what it is. There you are, standing with 2 feet on the ground, leaving you without temptation, lacking an ecstatic state of mind. Elevate yourself. Get past the mundane. Get past the physical. And see the world for what it is.
Breathing Trap.
If only you could tell the age-old secrets that you guard so well. As creation's nightlight gazes, looking on from time immemorial, illuminating earth's dark corners, like a nursing mother gently looks on, keeping watch over God's creation. The moon does shine on.
Intimidating Shout. Breathing Shroud. Counterspell. Frenzy Regeneration. Will of the Forsaken.
Back, bro, from the Gods of War days, and even prior to that, when you were in DP.
You don't believe in space?
No, I do not believe in outer space.
How about moon? The moon?
It's in the procession of heavens. It gives off its own light. It's not that far away.
But how old do you think the Earth is?
Pretty old, you know. I mean, it's hard to tell. It doesn't say anywhere in the Bible how old the Earth is. It just says that Adam and Eve were kicked out of the garden into the world. It doesn't say nothing about that. In God's time, when it says creation of the world, it has nothing to do with your time. First of all, you got to base it on eternity, and mortal time is nothing. If you like on a scale, I'm an engineer, designer, XYZ. Scaling things like 1 inch equals 20 feet or whatever giant scale, like even like a 5/1000ths of an inch equal, or like a half of a millimeter equals a mile. Dude, your entire life is nothing compared to eternity. It's not even scalable. So you don't even need to think about things like that, because it's like a split second when you die. You're just going to meet up wherever you go, and it's basically just going to be like instant for that. But yeah, it's clear about that, and you can look into that. Russian Vids was the best channel for not flat Earth. It's not technically not flat, but for biblical firmament and all of that. The sky's blue because there's an ocean. The water's above, the water's below. That's how he flooded it. Opened the floodgates in heaven, let the water down, flooded everything. And that's why there was so much sediment in the water. And if you can take a shrimp and you can put them in a lot of silty, stirred up dirt water, and the dirt the calcification will leave, and the dirt will fill in, and you'll get a fossil in 2 to 3 weeks of shrimp. The layers and the stratification, it's perfect. And the fossil graveyards are dead proof that God flooded the entire thing. There was so much sediment and stuff around. And the only giants that are left are blue whales and stuff. Have you ever seen the anime Attack on Titan? You notice how they have dinosaurs and whales running with the giants? And the very end of the second season, they got Satan, a big devil, like with his hand stuck out to a woman. The fall of men and the fall of angels, and angels being Nephilim or the old gods, or in Assyria, Sumeria, Babylon, they called their gods Anunnaki. My friend is Anunnaki, the Swedish Christian. Anunnaki means those to the earth from which the heavens came. Those are the old gods. And it says in the Bible that they fell because they saw the daughters of men and that they were beautiful, and they came to be with the daughters of men, and they laid the sons. They lay with them, and a race of giants was born, and then God destroyed the entire world because of these giants. Killed every single one of them. Noah's Ark is real. Noah didn't run around rounding up animals, but the Spirit of the Lord, which will come into you if you accept Jesus Christ, and guide you and convict you when you do wrong, and will lead you. The Spirit of the Lord was on the prophet strong, just as Paul and Peter, two apostles. Paul saw Saul of Tarsus and was there at the crucifixion of Christ. He was a Pharisee. He wasn't a believer. Christ had died and went to hell and risen when Paul was crucifying and killing Christians when he became the great apostle that he is. They had, in Acts of the Apostles, that's the first book after Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Paul and Peter both rose people from the dead, just as Jesus did, because the Spirit was so strong on them. The Spirit came onto the prophet Noah. All he had to do was think about it, and all the animals that he came. And that's the way it was. And that's the truth. But, dude, yeah, everything that you know, you've been taught, or you've seen from your vision. They were telling you a vision, and all your astronauts, they're lying to you. It is what it is. Most of them are Masons, Freemasonry. They love their numbers. So 33 is the devil's number. It's 3 plus 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 69 is a Masonic number. 69 is as above, so below. That's the Witch's Creed. Their Freemason symbol is a capital G after the Tower of Babylon, which here's another space being not real reference in the Bible. The Babylonians, if you've heard of the Tower of Babel, they were building a tower to heaven. God destroyed that tower and divided them and split all the languages up. When he did that, the first Freemason ever was Nimrod, the king of Babylon. And he said, we're not going to speak in languages anymore. We're going to use signs, symbols, numbers, and colors to speak. That's where the occult symbology and all that bulk Illuminati crap, everything that you probably have seen around and seen people talking about.
Yeah, but it's kind of word versus word here, So.
But the big G, the Freemason symbol, are you familiar with it? It's a square and compass with a big G in it.
No, I don't think so.
Google Freemason symbol.
We live for the music. We die for our music.
Yeah.
Okay, so they say that G means God or Grand Architect. Architect, the square and the compass, those would be architect's tools. Drawing tools. I'm a drafter, drawer. I do architectural, structural, mechanical. I do everything.
But that's what's weird.
Okay, but that's the flat Earth right there. The square represents the square of the foundation the Earth was founded on. In Isaiah, it said God compassed the oceans. That's a compass. The big G represents Satan. That's where signs, symbols, numbers, and colors come into. It's Scottish Rite Freemasonry. It's on the same letter system that you use, A, B, C, D, all the way through 26. Lowercase, A through Z is 1 through 26. Hop up to capital A. You guys go ahead and kill me. I'm talking right now.
That's all right.
Capital A is 27. Go over to capital G. That's 33. It says in the Bible that Lucifer and 1/3 of his angels fell from heaven. That would be 33% of the angels fell from heaven. When they say that's their God, they absolutely mean it. The compass represents the firmament, the biblical firmament, the glass dome, or it says in Job, it's hard. Are you like God who spread out the sky, which is hard as a molten glass? And so And then the square represents the 4 squares, and in Revelations you can see many references of the 4 angels that are set to blow horns, and that's the foundation of the earth. And then the big G is Satan cast out into the earth, being the god of this world in it. Not there's no space Satan. Like if Satan's real and he's a big walking around on 2 feet dragon demon beast, 5,000 feet tall or whatever, and he's super smart, and your flesh is corrupted, and because of the Garden of Eden, because he may have had sex with Eve and Adam apparently, and you've got that in your flesh, the devil, and he's a giant psychic war beast. Then, and he can, if you're not saved, he can basically read everything that you do, and they are worshiping him and getting power from him in this world. That symbol, that's a flat earth symbol, biblically outright. No Masons know what that symbol really means. They're taught all kinds of bullshit. You got to be a true 33rd degree, absolute committed Satanist, killing kids the whole 9 yards.
Intimidating shout.
To be given that kind of knowledge, and to know for sure that there is no space, because otherwise you'd be mocked.
So the earth is flat?
It's not flat. There's peaks and valleys, and there's a dip in the ocean.
Yeah, but
it's essentially round with a 4 square foundation, and there's a if you take, like, if I took, let's say an orange is the earth. You cut a hole around the orange, and you peeled from the bottom and pulled all the peel up to the top, right? Or you just peeled it out where you didn't. Well, let's just say it came out and it didn't rip, and then you cut a circle around it, and that's that. If you look at a globe, you see Antarctica at the bottom. It's actually a ring of ice all the way around all the countries. You can Google flat Earth map and get a look at it, and then you can Google like sun moon rotation. Also, explain to me this: Polaris, the North Star. If the North Star is the North Star, and if it doesn't move at all, and it just stays in that position, but we're flying around the sun, and we're on a tilt, and we're in the galaxies flying around in the universe, how in the hell does that thing never move? And that's just like one very small little point.
But the Northern Star has moved. Polaris has moved.
Well, that's not what I see. And it's
the thing about the
you can put a camera on it
is that it's very we're talking like distances that are extreme, right? And when if you're sitting on a train that's going 80 miles per hour in one direction, everything in the distance will seem like it's moving slower, right? It's something like this, except we're talking billions of miles away. And the way our solar system orientates in according to the Milky Way galaxy is
everything that you've ever seen, you've seen on TV or in images. And if you got yourself a telescope and looked at anything out in space, you're only going to see little light specks and things. I guarantee you won't see anything. You won't see any satellites. Take a picture of one. Get you a Nikon P90X. Take me some pictures of some satellites. And then when you do, I'll take your word for it.
Okay.
Do your own research. Think for yourself, man.
Yeah. I'm doing that. I'm just saying I have.
Don't Google shit. Don't look at shit. Get you a camera. Get you a telescope. I don't care what you think you saw.
I've seen the International Space Station though.
No, you haven't.
What did I see then?
If you can't see a plane, you can't see all planes in the sky. Some of them, even when it's a totally clear sky, you can't see it.
Oh,
there's no fucking way, man. And you just haven't. I'd like you get yourself a Nikon P90X. Take me a picture of it, and I'll believe you. That can zoom in way farther than any telescope you've ever seen.
Have you ever been at like the shore and seen a ship disappear in the horizon? It goes downwards.
Sure, that's perspective. Yes, that's perspective. If you take your hand and stick it out in front of you and then look to like a neighborhood or whatever, your hand will cover the entire neighborhood that's just down the road. At a 1 foot sea at that distance, that's exactly how much it'll cut off in perspective. Also, on certain times, even in flat seas, if there is that little bit, you get yourself like a Nikon P90X and zoom in, and it'll come right in. You'll see the bottom of the boat and everything. Yeah, I've seen that. Also, it's not all completely flat, especially not at the oceans, and that has to do with the sun and the moon and the gates at the top and the bottom. But it's whatever. You can look out at the horizon and tell that it ain't a damn sphere, because if you look out in both directions, if you take a level, sit it at like, let's say 5 feet, and go out, or how tall you are, and then go back and zoom and take a picture, or take a huge level, whatever straight you want, there's no curvature. You can look out and left and right farther than you can out in front of you, and there's no curvature visible, period. You can see farther than you can see if you see a ship out there. It's not it would be bending in all directions if it was a sphere. It absolutely doesn't. No curvature whatsoever. Doesn't mean it's flat, but it absolutely means that it's not a ball. And dude, I'll tell you, Lord forgive me if I'm speaking from pride, but one time, me knowing that it's not real, I was on NASA's, and this is when I was under spiritual attack by this Satan, this enchanter. I was talking to him every day and stuff. Apparently he was praying to Satan and all this stuff. I wasn't talking to him at the time. I was talking to him for 4 hours a day, just about every day, giving him money, doing stuff for him. I was blessed. I had a good job. I've got an even better job now. Praise God. Praise Jesus. I got on NASA's live stream, right? They had a live stream. They still do now, but they shut it down for 3 months after this time. Or don't let me speak of pride. I got on there. There was a guy sitting there, and he was floating there, and he was flipping the microphone like zero gravity and all that. And there were 2 male reporters and a female reporter live interviewing him. And there was a chat. There was about 50 people, maybe 40 or 50 people on the chat. Nobody saying anything. I said in the chat, I said, knowing how Satanists roll, and knowing that he was a Mason and all that, and he looked like Jerry Sandusky's son. Are you familiar with Jerry Sandusky, the famous child molester from Penn State?
No, I'm not.
He was a Penn State football coach. He molested many children for many years, and he's famous here in America. You can Google him and whatever. This guy looked just like him. And I said, hey, child fucker, you look like Jerry Sandusky's son. Or no, I said, hey, child fucker, let's see some, I said, hey, child fucker, you look like Jerry Sandusky's son. Let's see some 3D 360 movement, asshole. So like forwards, backwards, all around, because he was in a harness. He couldn't do that, or it wasn't set up for that. And the 2 male, and then I said, God's kingdom will remain holy forever. The two male reporters, when I said the Jerry Sandusky part, when I said that first, they started laughing. Then when I said the Jerry Sandusky thing, the girl reporter started laughing. And then when I said the other stuff, the 2 guys went, oh. And he didn't do any 3D 360 movement. He didn't do anything. He stood right there in the spot where he was, because he couldn't do shit. And they shut it down then shortly after, and the people were just questioning whatever. The live stream didn't come back on for 3 months, but now it's back, and apparently they got their harnesses and everything fixed up right, or they can do a little bit of acrobatics and try. They got their CGI better. On record, I forget the town that they're stationed in California, but they got 8